Welcome back. We're on grade 5, unit 4, lesson 7. This is part 2. Part 2 is not a lot of new learning. It's just kind of reviewing what we have learned. But it wants us to really generalize what we've learned. So I'm looking at number 34 on page 165. And it wants us to generalize that what we've learned is that when we're multiplying with decimals, we count the decimal places. And remember, that's how many numbers are in a decimal place, in a place value place that's a decimal. So count the decimal places, then take them out. Just take decimals out. Totally take them out and multiply like your whole numbers. Just forget about them and multiply just like how you know what to do. Then we're going to put the same number of decimal places back in at the end once we found the answer, starting from the right. So let's take a look at what that means. Here's 5 hundredths times 3. We see 1, 2 place values where there are decimals. Those are 2 decimal place values. This is the tenths place and that's the hundredths place. This is the ones, we don't count that. A 3, just a whole number 3, we don't count that. That's in the ones place. So we know we're looking for 2. There are 2 in the problem. So we're going to take them out now and not even worry about it. So we're just going to pretend we're multiplying all the numbers that aren't zeros. 5 times 3. Well, we know what 5 times 3 is. It's 15. Now, we had 2 decimal places in the problem, so we knew we'd need to have 2 decimal places in the answer. So we start on the right-hand side, and we said, well, there's 1, there's 2. So we have 2 decimal places. How do we know we have 2 decimal places? Because we put the decimal place right in front of those 2. Now, because there's nothing here, we have to stick a 0 in just to remind ourselves that that is a 0, 0 wholes. And the answer is 15 hundredths. What about number 47? 2 tenths times 6 tenths. 2 tenths multiplied by 6 tenths. So, how many decimal places are in the problem? 2 is in the tenths place, so that's 1. 6 is in the tenths place, so that's 1. So here again in the problem, we have 2 decimal places. We're going to then take them out, forget about them, and just multiply 2 times 6. Well, we know 2 times 6 is 12. And then there's 2 in the problem, so we have to have 2 in the answer. So there's 1, we start from the right, 2, there's the decimal place, decimal point, and again we need to put a 0 in front just because that helps us understand that it's 0 and 12 hundredths. Flipping over to the next page, let's look at page number 54. 7 hundredths times 3 tenths. Let's find out how many decimal places there are. Remember, you can always pause this video, try to figure it out, and then start me again to see if you got it right. So here's 1. That 7 is in the hundredths place. 2, that 0 is in the tenths place. 3, that 3 is also in the tenths place. So in our problem, we have 3. That means in our answer, we need to have 3. So we take the decimals out, multiply it like we know how to do. 7 times 3, we know that's 21. Now, start on the right-hand side. There's 1 place value, decimal place, 2 decimal places. Uh-oh, we need 3 decimal places. What are we going to do? There's a 3rd decimal place that we need in the answer. And there's our decimal. So we have 1, 2, 3 decimal places. We know we need to put a 0 in front if there's a decimal, if there's no whole number. But what do we do there? Just leave it? Leave an empty space? We can't leave an empty space in the middle of a number. What do we have to fill that up with? A 0. We need to put a 0 in there. Let's take a look at number 60. 60 is a word problem, and it says, Benjamin bought 6 2/10 pounds of rice when he went to the store. It cost 90 cents per pound, which means every pound costs 90 cents. How are we going to solve this problem? We're going to solve it just like we have been. There's 1 decimal place, 2, 3. So we have 3 decimal places in the problem. So we need to have 3 in the answer. Now, we're again just going to multiply how we need to know how to multiply. 62 times 90. You can multiply 62 times 90 in any way you know how. I'm going to multiply it by quickly putting a 0 down and getting rid of, pretending that's just a 9, and so holding the place value. 18, 55. My answer is 5580. Am I done? Did it cost $5,580? Well, if they tried to charge you that, I hope that Benjamin would say, no, that's not going to work. I don't want 6 pounds of rice for $5,000. Nope, we had 3 decimal places in the problem, so we need to have 3 decimal places in the answer. Remember, we start at the right. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Now we have 3 decimal places. What do? We put that decimal in so that the 5 is in the tenths place, the 8 is in the hundredths place, and the 0 is in the thousandths place. And we still have a 5 in the whole number in the ones place. So our answer is $5.58. Good luck on the second part of lesson 7. See you next time.